Have you ever wondered what makes combat pilots so effective at communicating during the most stressful times during the heat of the battle? As a leader, would you like to learn how to create your organization's communication skills to be just as effective? I'm Eric with Leadership Developed. This week, we will show you how to create that influential communication culture that will improve everyone's effectiveness. Most organizations and relationships say that their most significant trouble point is communications. Even in my family, our communications break down, creating unnecessary friction and drama. I'm not saying that you're going to be able to optimize it to perfection. However, you'll be able to work through these pain points. First thing is, words have meaning. That means everything has a defined intention, such as words like pivot. To us, that is a tactic to use, whereas corporate America kind of uses it like synergy. It's just a catchphrase to make them sound smarter. If you don't define what the word pivot is, then how's the people underneath going to know what the heck you're talking about? We're pivoting. Oh, you're using a big fancy word. That's what it talks about. Let's take navigation, giving driving directions. My wife and I came to this agreement a long time ago because this is what I expected from my Marines when I went flying with them. When you give me the directions left and right, those are defined. Left, your right. How do I affirm that I'm going the right direction? Don't use the word right. You use the word correct. If I were to ask my wife, am I turning right here? She will say correct. She won't say right. Because that will be more confusing when you say, do I make my left up here? Right. And then all of a sudden I'm going the wrong way. Pay attention to the language used in your industry. A great example of that is accounting. Under GAAP, they have defined most terms because it's a generally accepted accounting practice. Communicating without nonverbals. As social creatures, we don't just listen for words. We read people's lips. We watch their body positions. We listen to their tone or their voice. We pay attention to the environment in which the conversation is being had. We look for things like sarcasm. We look for weightiness. But in most times, our communications are done in an electronic form, whether it's through a text or just verbally through the phone. Understand that you eliminated most other things that go within that communication to make it more effective. When we are face-to-face, we do a great job at communicating. But when we send emails, when we leave voice messages, when we just stand there, people don't get the full picture. Emails got me in trouble when I was writing home to my wife. I love to joke around. I like to be, help the day go by faster by being jokey. Those sarcastic points, those tones did not communicate through the electronic written version by the time she got there. And then she thought I was talking about being a better person than her. And I was like, hang on a second. I was making a joke that was sarcastic about me being in the higher ground. And that got me in trouble. We had a phone call. We worked it all out. Things got better. But understand that nuance, those jokes, do not come through for everyone. And not everyone receives them the same way. So the biggest takeaway is deliberately use the words without any type of sarcasm, without any type of inside joke. Make it clear, make it possible, make it concise for the other person to identify what's going on. The third thing we're going to talk about are the 3 elements of communication. These are important to us because this lets us know that we are effectively communicating. So the first element is the sender sends the information to a specific receiver. Not a general receiver, a specific receiver. For you, you are a growing leader. I am sending my message to you, the growing leaders of this world. A lot of advertisers get this wrong. I used to get this wrong in my marketing because I was just broadcasting to everybody. I was not broadcasting to a specific person, and that specific person is you, the growing leader. So like the executive in an organization, they don't just broadcast an email to everybody and hoping that somebody understands it or will receive it and take action on it. They have to have a specific person in mind, in place to take action. The second element of communication is the receiver has to be in a position to receive it. So in the cockpit, you're sitting next to each other. Doesn't mean that the person beside me is paying attention. It just means that we are present. We are presently there. But if they're thinking about something else, like some obstacle that's on their side of the aircraft, that I can't see, they're not going to hear or understand what I'm communicating to them. So it's important for me to make sure that the receiver is ready to receive the information. So when you send an email blast and go, why didn't you answer my email? Well, guess what? You weren't paying attention to see if that person was in a position to receive. That receiver can throw the transmitter off by giving them the illusion that they're ready to receive when in fact their brain's somewhere else. The second thing is the receiver has to receive the transmission. If the audience is listening to a keynote speaker and the microphone goes out, we have just lost element 2 because the message was not received by the intended audience. And the third element is the receiver has to acknowledge that they received the message. If I'm told something and I go, did I really receive the message or I'm just blowing somebody off? To properly explain that you received the message is to kind of send it back. I understand that you want me to go get the groceries. By acknowledging it successfully, it allows that communication is effectively happening. I'm on it tends to be one of those slippery areas because you just committed something even though you didn't pay fully attention to it. I'm on it. There's times where the action itself will tell you that it's acknowledged. Turn right, the person's turning right. Stop, the person stopped. You don't have to verbally say back anything. The action itself did it. It's very important to use those nonverbal cues as well so you don't have to overdraw it with so many damn words. Wow, you're allowed to dress that way in Qatar? The final and most destructive piece to any organization's communications is the illusion of communication. I have seen many times where somebody takes element 3 of the communications and go and not really pay attention or use it to blow them off just to shut them up, just to get them off their case. So one person thinks that the information is received while the other one just doesn't care and just blew them off. So effectively no communications happened. The other thing is people think there's a communications because they're using words and they're using words. Politicians are the worst. They talk a lot, but they don't listen. They use their mouth more than they use their ears. In the cockpit, it was a problem for us because we have these things called emergency procedures. And in the emergency procedures, you have the actions that are done by the pilot at controls. That's the one flying the aircraft. Then you have the actions done by the pilot not at controls. I'm going through a simulator refresher with our instructor who's a colonel. And in my left seat is with me is a reserved colonel. And he's a damn good pilot. But we were so hung up on being perfect that we didn't really listen to each other. We just went through the whole thing. So when the first emergency showed up, we went blah, 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 blah. Our instructor was like, stop, hell no. And we're like, what? We did everything. We were doing everything correctly. The pilot controls was doing everything that was affected the input to the controls. The pilot non-controls was doing everything that did not. He goes, did you guys even listen to each other? What step were you on? Well, I was on step 5 when you shut us down. Oh, really? I was on step 3. That was the problem. We needed to be in synchronization in steps. You can call it synergy if you want. Fuckers. So the whole illusion that we thought we were communicating was really shown to us that we weren't by the simple fact where we were in the whole emergency procedure. The procedure, I was farther along than the pilot non-controls was. That was the illusion. The illusion of communication will destroy any relationship. If you don't have a relationship, you don't have trust. If you don't have trust, you really don't have anything. I'm Eric with Leadership Developed. If you like this video, hey, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up. Also, help us grow a community of like-minded growing leaders by subscribing to this channel. Help tell YouTube to send these videos out to other potential growing leaders. If they don't know about it, they will never see it. So I need your help to spread that message. If you missed any of our previous videos, hey, do us a favor, check them out right over here. Otherwise, we'll talk to you again soon.